What's he? Peter. Peter fell off. Peter, what do you do? It's quite cool, Peter. Right. Hello, this is Sophie Lawson from sophielawson.com, and this is episode 79 of a So Free Art podcast, which is a little podcast that I do about the art and things. And this one is all about my little website. Yeah, and it is a website at the minute because it's broken, sort of broken. So this one's going to be all about my website breaking and things I learnt from it. So basically, you can find show notes and stuff at sophielawson.com, and you can find videos at youtube.com/sophielawson. But let's get into this one. Little Monty the Mouse little Monty the Mouse. I got little Monty today. He's starting the podcast. So that means it's time for the topic. So I'll just quickly describe what happened. Basically, a few days ago, my website it went a bit weird and it broke. So the only thing I could do to fix it for the minute was basically get rid of everything, really. It still exists, but it's all gone weird. If you click on... as an internal burp. If you click on any of the pages... I've actually hid all the pages so you can't access them, but if you was able to get into it, you would see just a page of gibberish, really. So what happened was it broke. At first, when it happened, it came up with a message saying account suspended, and I was thinking, what's going on here? And I got a little bit scared, and I had a little tiny cry because I thought I'd lost the entire website. So I had a little cry, and then all of a sudden I just thought, hang on a minute, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it just everything got put into perspective. It didn't matter. So then it was 24 hours before I could get back into my website. So for 24 hours it had this message saying account suspended. I managed to get in and sort of fix it, but basically what's happened is I've got some choices to make now. I can either go through the entire website. There's about 500 pages on that website, and I would have to go through each of those pages and basically recreate the entire page, which I don't really fancy doing. Doesn't sound like fun. I could try to fix the theme that was there, but actually I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah, this is what's really good, is I've sort of moved on. So the other option is I completely stop doing the website completely, and then the other option is carry on with the website, but create like a super simple little tiny one, a very basic website, which all it's got on it is the podcasts and a page of my art and a page of my photos and a little bit about me, and that's it. There'll be nothing fancy on it. It would almost be just a white website, bit of text, a couple little images, like keep it simple and minimalism. It's quite funny what's happened, but so yeah, where do I go with this one? When it first happened, I got really sad because I realised that initially it felt like, because what it is I've had that website for 6 years. Right at the start of my art career, I built this little website. It started out as nothing but my photo and my drawings, and then before I knew it, I had a blog on it. Then I started putting in inspirational artwork. Then I put my diary on it, my photos, and it just evolved into this beast, really. And this is what's happened. I love that this happened. I love that my website got broken, because what it's made me realise my life had turned into working on the website, doing a little bit of drawing. Whereas it started out as doing drawing, doing a little bit of website. So the website had almost started to take over. Now I love my website, and we've definitely been on a journey together. And all that's happened, it's going to change now. And this is just another part of the story, really. So the website's going to change. but that doesn't mean that what's gone before has been a waste, because I've learned so much through those 6 years. But what I've decided to do is I'm going to basically delete everything. I'm going to delete everything, and the website is just going to have a static. It's going to be really simple, and yeah, I feel really relieved. That's a good word. I feel really relieved, because all of a sudden, this is the thing. I'm almost thinking to myself, yeah, when it broke, when you lose something out of your control, it makes you question everything. So I started questioning, do I really even want a website? Do I want to do the little newsletter anymore? Do I want inspirational stuff on my website? Do I want to do any more writing on my website? Should I be doing writing on the website? Exactly, should I? Not want what I want to do, it's should I? And for the last year, I've kept asking the universe, what should I be doing and stuff? And it's kept saying, you need to focus on studying to get your art really good. And it's kept telling me that. It's kept telling me to focus on my art, like studying. And what have I done? I've kept doing things on the website. So the website has almost become it became like a distraction. So suddenly, when I lost it all, initially, for the first minute, I was like, I can't lose all this. I've put so much into it. And then suddenly it was like, hang on a minute, this is like freedom. I felt free. I felt like, yeah, because again, because I knew that I wanted to focus on my studying and stuff, I was trying to sort of step away from the website without stepping away. And because there was so much stuff on there, I just felt almost like a prisoner to the website. So, yeah, it was as if suddenly they didn't just unlock the prison door, they just blew the prison up. And I'm outside now, so I can either rebuild a little house. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rebuild a little tiny house with a door that's always open, so I ain't going to be inside. And if I don't want to do anything on the website, I'll leave it and I won't bother doing anything. That sounds a bit lazy, but it's not. It's what it is it's that I can then focus on my drawing. Yeah, so I almost thought to myself, I'll tell you what I want to do. I would love to do this, but I feel like I can't, but I might do, because I would love to. And what I want to do is step away from everything, even the podcast, which I don't want to do that. That's the one thing I don't want to do. I think I could step away from everything else, apart from the podcast. So, but what I thought was step away from everything and spend a year or two almost like on a sort of retreat, and I would be able to focus on my art, studying, because at the minute my little Sophies are not as good as they are in my head, and it's probably about 10%. So when I create characters, my own characters, I just can't do what I want to do in my head because my skills aren't there. So I need to get my skills to a point where I can create what I see in my head, which I know is going to take years. But if I really focus, I know in a couple of years I think I could be really good at creating characters and stuff. And I think to myself, well, if I do that, I could come back then and make a website, and I'd be able to do the website and draw, create my characters, and because I wouldn't have to study as much, I reckon there'd be a nice balance there. So yeah, it's almost like that's what I want to do, but I feel like I can't, because I want to keep doing the podcast, because this podcast has helped me so much. So if I do the podcast, that means I have to keep updating the website. But I reckon I could simplify, again, this is going to give me the opportunity to simplify everything. I wouldn't just simplify the website, I would even simplify the show notes for the podcast. So all I would do is, I would record the podcast, I would create a tiny little bit of text, a really tiny little bit, a title, and that would be it. There would be no links or quotes or images, it would be nothing fancy, it would be more about the podcast, like the content of the podcast. Because the thing is, you record a podcast, and in say 30 minutes, you can you can say quite a lot in 30 minutes on a podcast. To say that in written text, you're talking like days, because you gotta say it, you've then got to edit it, you've then got to format the page, and it just becomes this really big process, which, yeah, at the minute I can't be doing that when I should be learning how to draw. Because the thing is, yeah, I want to get so good at drawing characters that I can draw whatever I want from my head. So what I'm thinking is, right, I think that this website breaking is actually the universe taking control and pushing me in that direction, because it's amazing. That day when that website broke, I had 3 synchronicities in quick succession, which made me laugh, and that's when I thought to myself, this was all happening, like the universe was doing this. What happened was, because I was thinking to myself, do I just quit everything, and do I quit the podcast and everything? When I said that, I went on to Apple Podcasts, looked at the podcast, and the last podcast I'd recorded, it was Keep Going by Austin Kleon. So it's like, I'm thinking, do I just quit everything? And it said, keep going. And I had a little tear, because I thought, this is amazing. So that's when I thought to myself, I can't stop doing the podcast. Whatever happens, I've got to find a way to keep doing the podcast. And I think I can. I think I can focus on studying, and also focus on my meditations and lucid dreaming, because those 2 together I can do really good. But if I have to also do the website and all the other stuff, it's just too much. I can't do it all at the minute. But like I say, once I'm better at drawing, yeah, and also after years of meditation, everything will be... I think I'm at a phase in my life where I need to focus on levelling up my mind to get over these limiting beliefs and stuff, and levelling up my art skills. And then I can come back and do a much better website in the future, because I'll also have more to say and stuff like that. But then there is part of me that loves talking about things as I'm going through them, because I feel like if you talk about stuff as you're going through it, you learn a lot yourself. So, yeah, there's lots of conflicting feelings at the minute. But that little synchronicity happened. I started laughing. I then came over to my desk over here. I don't know what I was doing. And I looked at my desk, and over here, I just tidied my little art. I got a load of drawers with my art supplies in. I just tidied that, and inside was a couple of sheets of paper with loads of little emails from people who had sent me really nice messages, like over the years. And this is amazing. There's no reason for me to take that out there. I don't even know why I took it out there, but it was sat on top of my desk here. So again, I'm thinking, do I just quit everything? And I look and I see this little sheet of paper people saying stuff like, I'm really grateful for your podcast. I love your podcast. Thank you for the little newsletter. I love your little newsletter. It's helping me. Thank you. Like, all this stuff. And I'm thinking, again, little tear, because I'm thinking, I can't stop doing the podcast and stuff. And what was the other thing? There was something else that was funny as well. Oh, yeah. So, again, I'm just about to go to work that same evening, quickly check my emails, and there's an email from Stitcher. It says, welcome to your new homepage. It's funny, because then I thought, well, that's what I'm going to do then. I'm going to create a new homepage, a little simple one. So what it's going to mean is, it's going to mean I'm going to have to spend a couple of months, maybe, hopefully not. I'm going to have to spend a couple of weeks. But again, there's that thing, what's it called? I've talked about it on a podcast before, Hopkinson's law or something. It's this law where everything takes longer than you think. So I'm thinking it'll take me a couple of weeks to get the podcast put together. It'll probably take me a couple months. So, but I think I will do it, because then maybe that will just fall in sync with the end of the year. And then maybe like 2020 is my year of just studying on art. Yeah, studying on my art. Like proper, like in 2013 I was like possessed. That year I was possessed, and I studied so much, and I loved every second of it. I love learning. That's the thing, I do miss studying, but because I had all these other little commitments with my website and stuff, it taken away from my studying. So, yeah, but like 2020 might be this year of focusing on studying and going deep into that. I'm also going to be right on the edge of quitting one of my jobs then. So I'm going to have a lot more free time. I feel like it's going to all come together at a nice point. So I'll spend a little bit of time making a little website. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all the podcast into it. That's the only thing I'm going to keep. I'm still undecided about the little newsletter, because what I would like to do is turn the little newsletter into like a magazine, like a PDF. And what I would do is all the blog posts and all the diaries and stuff that were on the old website, I would basically convert them into little articles for this magazine. So the magazine would be full of loads of inspirational artwork, which I've still got. So I've still got all the files on my computer. It's just a case of do I put it into the new website or do I just keep it offline? And I think I'm just going to keep it and probably turn it all into these little magazines. But I don't know whether I want to be doing that yet, or whether I should do that like in the future, like in years. Because that is the ultimate goal, is to get that little newsletter into like a little magazine full of inspirational artwork, little art tips, little life tips, spiritual things, and yeah, basically stuff like that. Talking about art books and recommended art tools. It's going to be, I can see it in my head and it looks beautiful, but I also know it will take quite a bit of time to put that together. So again, I don't know whether I should be doing that, or I could just have the little newsletter be this simple little page of text, maybe with one image of like an inspirational piece of artwork I found that month, and it would just be a super simple thing. It might even be just one image of inspirational artwork, a tiny little art tip that I've learnt from my time studying that month, a tiny little life tip I've learnt from my life that month, and a little inspirational quote. So again, it will become a little newsletter. Yeah, it'll be like short and sweet. It'll be much easier for me to put together. I think it would probably be better for you to look at, because I think it'd be more inspiring, really. Yeah, it would just be a little art tip, a little inspirational quote, a little life tip, and a nice little image, and that would be it. And then any resources or something, I could put a link in. Keep it simple, stupid. That is something Will Terry said at SVS Learn. I've never forgot that. Keep it simple, stupid. So, this thing that at first felt like my world had crumbled, I thought, oh my god, I've lost the website, I've lost everything. It's suddenly, like, things happen in mysterious ways, and sometimes you need, because there was no way I was ever going to be able to stop doing that website unless something like this happened. So it is a blessing, and yeah, it will all come together in years to come. Nothing is ever wasted, I know that. So everything I've done, it will all find a way to come back together, and I think it'll be probably more beautiful in the future. So that's basically it. So if you go onto the website at the minute, it's probably still a little bit messy, and it might mess up the podcast feed, because what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to move all the podcasts over to this new website, which I don't know what's going to happen with the feed. Hopefully I'll be able to do it without much disruption, but all the podcasts should still be on YouTube at youtube.com/Sophie Lawson. So if you ever need to find a podcast and for some reason the feed stopped working or something, they'll always be on the YouTube, so that'll be good. Basically, I think that's it. This was a podcast of me just talking, trying to work out what to do and stuff, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it simple. The really good thing is the amount of distractions my mind has had because of this website, because I've got thousands, I must have about easily 50,000 photos of me posing over the years, and I want to get those onto the website, but I've not been able to do that because I've been doing other things. And in the back of my mind, I've always been thinking, I want to be doing that. So I've constantly had this distraction of things I want to do on the website. I feel like I'm going to be free of all that, because all I do is I'll have one little page with a bunch of my favourite photos, and that'll be it. And I can even link to the bottom of that saying you can find more on Instagram or something. That's another thing. I don't know whether I want to... I don't know, I've got to think about that. Whether I want to be on like Instagram and stuff. Because again, it just feels like distractions at the minute. Yeah, I want to focus on studying and meditating and stuff, because I feel like it's going to help me a lot, and I can talk about all that stuff on the podcast. So I'm still going to be sharing what I'm going through on the podcast. It's much easier to do that, and I can sacrifice a day a week to do the podcast, because I think that would be worth it. And the good thing is, it'll be like one day a week is all about the podcast. So I'll record it, I'll edit it, and I'll post it. And then all the other days, I won't have to do anything apart from draw and meditate, which sounds amazing. I'll also be able to read more books. I've got so many books. Again, I feel guilty for reading sometimes because I think I've got to do all these other things. So I'm saying thank you to the universe, because it has really helped me here. And yeah, it's been the best thing that's ever happened. Best thing that's ever happened. It's weird how that happens, isn't it? It's weird how something will happen and you'll think this is the worst thing ever. Because I know in like 20 years' time, I'm going to look back and be like, when my website broke, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm convinced of that. It's very weird. It's just like in 2016, I think it was, I was outside where I used to wear wigs, because I felt like I had to wear wigs to cover my bald head and stuff. But what happened was, I got so much transgender abuse outside on the streets. There was a group of boys on these bicycles, on these motorbikes, and I was walking along the street and they started shouting abuse at me, and I felt so... Yeah, it was the worst day of my life. In that moment, I became super suicidal, and I just felt like everything had crumbled. But out of that, I got this realization that I could drop the wigs, and I could just be me. And like I say, I look back at that now. I had to go through it to become who I am now, and like, yeah. I look back at that transgender abuse and I think that was the best thing that ever happened to me, which sounds so weird. How you would think to yourself, how can something so bad be so good? but it is, and things like that, they start to make me think about this, like life is struggle. A lot of life is struggle. But maybe right at the very end, or when we die and we pop out, maybe we'll look back and we'll realise what all the struggle was about, and you'll be like, you know what? All of that struggle was worth it. Yeah, that'd be amazing. That's made me a little bit sad. Not sad, a beautiful emotion. Yeah, like one of those, like, you know when you start crying and it's like feels beautiful. Yeah, I like that. The struggle will be worth it in the end. I know that. So that's basically that. I hope you enjoyed that one, and I would say, yeah, if something bad happens, there's always a reason, and it will end up being the best thing ever. So many times that's happened. I love life. I love the way life works. There's something up there, somebody or something, that is doing things to us because it can see things that we can't see. Because I think we are inside a time. We're inside of this time and we're going forwards like that, so we can't see what's happening over here, but there's something out there. This is what I think. I've got this amazing theory. Yeah, this will be a future about the Tings episode, but I've got this theory that what's happened is there's one version of us that is conscious, but there are infinite versions of us that exist in all these different infinite realities. So what's happening is we and everyone's doing this, we have got complete free will. We've got free will to decide where we end up. Well, we've got free will to decide what we do each day. But I think we're always going to end up at the same point. It's just how do we get there? So every decision we make, like yes or no, fear or love-based decisions, I feel like each decision puts us onto these different timelines. So if you was to be able to zoom out and look at our life on like a sheet of paper, you would have tons of lines, and you would see, like, it would almost be like one of those sort of zigzaggy graphs, and that would be you popping from these different realities. So if you're living in fear or something, you're down on this reality, you're on this reality here, which is like a fear one. There's a love one up here. You make a love feeling, you pop up here. You're constantly popping along these things, and there's one reality which is like your ultimate self, like your best potential. But again, this is all probability based, so each of these, your decisions are based off probabilities. But you've got free will. So if you haven't got your awareness, you're going to be bouncing around these realities without realising it. When you start to become aware and you start making decisions out of love, you can actually get yourself onto the reality that is going to get you to your best self. But everybody's doing this. So the thing is, there's infinite versions of me on all these other timelines where I'm not actually conscious in them, and they're still living their lives, but they're living their lives based off of probability. Everybody else is doing this as well. So what's happening is everybody's just bouncing around all these different timelines. It goes into lucid dreams and dreams. I think when we're dreaming, we're getting a taste of these different timelines. Like we're popping into an unconscious version of ourselves in another timeline. And I think something is out there it's sometimes the dream will do that, because that will help you make a decision on this timeline. Yeah, it's quite complicated, but it's a beautiful thing, because if you was able to zoom out and look at that, you would have this zigzaggy graph thing. But then if you could zoom out even further and put everybody together, you would have like all these different coloured zigzaggy lines on this page of lines. And then right at the very end, there would only be one line with all those different coloured zigzag lines which represent people. It would become one line. So basically everything would become on the same reality. And I think that is what would be, they talk about like ascension and becoming enlightened. I think when everyone becomes enlightened, we're all going to end up on the same reality. There will be no more bouncing around these realities. So I think there's something out there that looks and it can see, like what it can see where you're supposed to be going to get to this pure potential of yourself. So it will throw something into your reality, which is going to help you get on there. Yeah, because it probably knows if it didn't do that, if for instance my website hadn't broke, 5 years time I might still have been in the same place, not able to draw what I want from my imagination, because I haven't studied enough. Because there's no secret to drawing. The secret to drawing is studying, which anyone can do. If you study, you're going to get better. So it is a case of how much time and how willing are you to study, because the more you study, the better you're going to get. So it's completely in your control how good you get at drawing. So yeah, I'm quite excited now. I'm quite excited because it's I feel liberated and free, and I needed that to be able to step back and look at everything I was doing, really. So that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed that. It was a podcast where I had to just get those thoughts out of my head to work out what was going on and stuff. But little Monty has decided it is time to end this one, and you can find show notes and everything at Sophie Lawson. You can find videos at sophielawson.com/ no, you can't. You can find it at youtube.com/Sophie Lawson. This week's inspirational quote is going to come from a book that I haven't read yet, but it's called Daily Rituals: How Great Minds Make Time, Find Inspiration and Get to Work, and it is by Mason Curry. I heard about this book on a podcast. It was a podcast about spirituality. It had nothing to do with art, but this one's kind of full of a lot of artists in this book. Mozart, Einstein, Picasso, what's he called? Picasso, that's it. Beethoven, Dickens, Freud. So lots of amazing people. There's also a lot of just like regular people as well. It's not all like these. It's a lot of people. How many is there? There's quite a lot of people in here. There is. Well, if you're looking on the video, you can see that there must be. I would imagine. God blimey, there's loads, pages of people. I would say there's easily. What have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20. I would say there's about 150 different people talking about how they basically make time, find inspiration and get to work. It's all about their daily rituals, how they live their life. So you can read about how Einstein was able to focus his mind and achieve what he did, how Freud did what he did. It's going to be fascinating. And somebody talking on the podcast about this, they told this story. This is a bit of a weird story. There's somebody in here who started every single day by masturbating. It's a bit weird, but he found that when he masturbated, it allowed him to become super creative. I think he was a painter, some artist. So it's weird things like that. And what you're gonna find out is everybody's routine is completely different. So what it proves really is that there's no like set way to live this life really to achieve greatness. Everyone's different. But the quote is going to come from one of the first person in the book is W.H. Auden, Auden, and the quote, I like this quote. It's a beautiful way to start this book as well. So the quote is, "Routine in an intelligent man is a sign of ambition." I love that. Super simple. And it goes back to something that Austin Kleon said in one of his books, which I reviewed in the last 3 podcasts. He said about how routine is key. Routine is more important than time. That's what he said. And I can agree with that. Because once you've got your routine, you're going to have amazing focus. So this week's inspirational quote, "Routine in an intelligent man is a sign of ambition." W.H. Auden.